I'm here today with Dan Gale, who is the owner of the Exhale Holiday Park. Kia ora, Dan, and thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, g'day Andrew, thank you.
Dan, obviously you were badly affected by Cyclone Gabrielle and have been calling for accountability about the civil defence response. Before we get into what happened on the night, just tell us a bit about your background and how you came to own the holiday park.
Yeah, so my parents moved us out there in 1987, November, and then in 1995 they reopened the campground, and so sort of grew up there from age 13 with the camp being reopened, and went off to university and a bit of overseas travel, etc., and came back and took over it in 2011, started running it for the parents, and in 2013 me and the wife bought the business and went from there, and grew it by over 300% in basically under 10 years.
So a good life and a good business as well. Obviously lots of diverse people coming through, international travellers, that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, pretty cool lifestyle. Not as cool as everyone thinks over the summer. It's pretty busy, but yeah, you know, I got to spend a lot of time with my kids and my family. Do everything from being a plumber to a mechanic to mowing the lawns to being on the office and phone, and yeah, meet people from all over the world. Some of my best mates I've met through the business, and yeah, no, it was thoroughly enjoyable.
And a beautiful spot as well, eh?
Yeah, 13 acres by the Esk River, which is normally a lovely spot. But yeah, it'll be lovely again.
Now, take me back to the time before the cyclone struck. What information had you received about the storm coming?
So, well, it was all over Channel 1 and 3 News to begin with. We knew it was coming down, and they were just curious as where the path was going to take it. Initially it was sort of going to hit Auckland and then go off, hit Gisborne and go out off the coast, but as it got closer to the time it was apparent that it was going to hit us. So on the Wednesday I started preparing over the road to take our caravans and machinery over there to where it would normally be safe in a small flood event. So yeah, I started preparing on the Wednesday and Thursday, and then as it got closer and closer to the Monday night when the flood event took place, it was more and more apparent that it was going to flood our place, obviously, but never had the information delivered to me in a prompt time to say that the whole valley was going to flood. Yeah.
Now, what flood protection systems and that did you have at your campsite?
Okay, so I get telemetry direct to my cell phone via text from the regional council.
Yeah.
It sends me warnings at 2.5 metre river rise, 3.6, 4.6, and then after that stops. But my own river alarm, which we have a float valve system, and it goes off and sets a physical alarm in our house at 3.6 metres river rise and 4.6. So it's a preliminary warning saying to us to get ready, and then the 4.6 is get gone. And so, yeah.
Now, how high has it ever got in the past?
7.2 metres in Bowler, and same in 2018.
Oh, okay. And were your houses flooded then?
So in Bowler, no, it came close, but our house was on the ground, ground level, and in 2018 nowhere near, because our house was, after Bowler, put on 3 metre poles, and so knee deep under the garage basically.
Okay.
Yep.
That's pretty good, yeah. And so when did you realise that you had to clear this campsite of people?
I evacuated our campground on the Saturday and Sunday prior.
Yeah. Did you just think rather be safe than sorry?
No, I knew that our place would flood. With the warnings of between 300 and 400 mils, it was obvious that my place would flood on that, based on that information.
How many people were in the holiday park? Because it's February, so it was still
about 50, and then we told others not to turn up.
And were people compliant? Did they listen to you? Was it easy to get them going?
Yeah. No, they know that I knew what I was doing.
And so, when did you realise that it was going to probably be the worst that you had seen?
Weeks later, after I finally got the email that, so what happened was the council sent out an email at 11:15 p.m. and I had left the camp at 10:30 when it was already when it was coming across the land, because I stayed to make sure that no tourists turned up and got trapped or in trouble.
Yeah.
So we left at 10:30. I got an email at 11:15. Of course, I didn't know because I'd left my computer at home. And then weeks later, after the event, when we had a community meeting, I went into my emails and found that sitting there. And what I read alerted me to the fact that had I seen that, or had it been sent out earlier, I could have guaranteed that the whole valley would flood.
So when do you think the council first had that information?
9:30 p.m.
9:30. And have you had discussions with them about why it took so long?
I've had a discussion with one person, yeah.
And what did they say?
And they said because it took 2 hours to analyse it.
So this is your whole beef with the civil defence response, that it wasn't nimble and they weren't proactive and getting the information out quickly.
No, my beef is the fact that they do not appear to have a plan. When the river hits, so when they received this information, the river was sitting at 6.2 metres, and that's at 10 o'clock. They received this information half an hour prior. They then had to model it, and their model said another 150 to sort of 180 mils of rain was to come on top of what had already fallen. That's a given that the valley was going to flood. And when the river continued to rise, and at I think it was 2:30 a.m. the telemetry system got smashed off the bridge, they still didn't hit the button. It is evident that they didn't have a plan.
And did you try and have any other form of communication with them while all this was happening? Or I suppose you were just focused on sort of surviving, really?
At 11 at night,
Yeah.
at 11 we were done. There was no power, there was no anything.
Yeah.
So there was no more communications.
Yeah. Did anyone come round did you have emergency services coming round to help you?
I didn't need any help.
Okay.
Because I'd already evacuated.
Yeah.
However, the police went around some of the residents on the riverside of the railway track and knocked on some doors at Shore Road and got told some people they should evacuate. And then around about midnight, the volunteer fire brigade got out and told as many people as they could. But unfortunately, that was pretty much too late by then, as the river was rising very rapidly.
Had you got your kids and that out earlier before that, or did you all leave together?
No, my kids and wife, they were up at my parents' house up on the hill, sort of like eight-ish. Yeah.
Did you ever feel in danger yourself?
No.
Yeah. And now, silly question, but what was it like seeing the water rushing through your home and your business and that, and realising that this was going to be the worst you've ever seen?
Well, when we left and it was flooding across our property, I wasn't worried at all because I had no further information available at hand to know that it was going to become the worst ever. However, when we got up in the morning and we could actually see anything because it was pitch black, it was a quick realisation that everything was destroyed basically.
So this was from your parents' house up on the hill?
Correct.
So did you have a good view of what was going on?
Could view the whole, most of the valley, yeah.
And describe what you felt when you saw it. Was it just like absolute horror? Yeah.
Well, yeah, just you knew that everything was done and the damage was going to be horrendous. You could see the water going down sort of with rapids. It was hillside to hillside. You could see that houses in some cases were up to the gutters. We could see a truck sitting on the main road. And our first thought is, where is everybody?
So you at that stage feared that there would be many people who maybe hadn't made it? Yeah,
well, we didn't know who had got evacuated or we didn't know anything because we'd lost comms and power basically before midnight. Yeah.
And it's quite a close-knit community, is it? East Valley?
Oh, it's even closer than it now.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But yeah, no, it is. It's a great community.
And did you help people in the aftermath of everything happening?
Yeah, so as soon as we could get back down into the valley floor, my brother grabbed my dad's bobcat, and we went and opened up the road along where the truck stop is, and cleared that out so we could get along there and find out where people were, etc. The jet boats had been going up and down picking people up, so they dropped a couple off to us and put them in side-by-sides and took them as far as we could to get to somewhere to go. But we were locked in basically. So
yeah. So when everything the water had subsided and you went back to your property, just describe that and what you saw and the damage.
Yeah. So basically covered in silt, and you couldn't really get across a lot of it because it was still absolute sodden. But yeah, we picked our way across some of the exposed areas where the water had gone fast and basically left it at original ground height. And just got up into our house, and it had got just under the bench height. Okay. And there was mud, there was silt sort of, I don't know, maybe 20 centimetres deep in our house. And so, just lots of water and silt really, and everything had floated around and tipped over, but that was basically it.
And all the facilities on the camping ground and that all destroyed as well, though?
No, one building's pretty much entirely intact.
Oh, good.
It's amazing. It's got a 1 by 1 metre square window on the front and still intact.
Wow.
Yet the rear one blew out with the pressure of the water. One toilet block is basically 95% fine, apart from having lots of silt inside of it, which we can just dig out or slurry out. And but the main ablution block is damaged, but everything's still there. So it just needs dug out basically, and a new roof put on top of it. So yeah.
So lots of work to do here.
Yeah, lots of work.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, the one thing that has come out of this is how the community, as you say, even more close-knit and has rallied together and that. What were the initial concerns of people, and how have those changed? How's the mood changed and what people feeling now?
Yeah, so we're very lucky in the valley. We had a unaffected part of our community come to the rescue of us that were impacted, and the initial concern, so we were locked in the valley as such because the roads weren't open. It took a couple of days to get out over the back way, but first concerns were that people were running out of fuel for generators. That was the very start issues, and then misinformation. Like we were hearing that the bridges are gone. That's what everyone kept telling us, the army, etc. The bridges are gone, and we're thinking, well, how are we going to get bloody food and fuel if all the bridges are gone? Yeah. So massive amounts of misinformation came out to begin with, and so once the community started to connect back together, based over in King George Hall, and then just sort of realising the scale of it. Then the concerns, apart from immediate where is everybody, went to fuel. Then it went to clean up, where are we going to live, just all the standard stuff really. So people started, getting put up with other people, and eventually started to find places to live as the weeks went on, be it temporary and then to semi sort of permanent. And then, for myself, it was pretty obvious that the government, when they got on, we had a generator, so we had the TV going. Within day 2, I see Sir Brian Roach on there talking about managed retreat. So all of a sudden, I'm thinking, oh well, this is what they've done in Christchurch and Matata, and they're going to want to shift us on, and obviously that's become the case.